Hey, y'all.
Actually on Tuesday today, which is a win for all of us.
Agreed.
Okay. I still haven't seen it pop up on my phone here. Anyways, there's always like a delay,
Always a
and it's
delay.
always tricky to know exactly when my talking oh.
Oh, that's a funny thing.
Okay. We are trying to figure these things out here because Chris, who is here, just
And
this past
Cindy.
week, Chris this past week gave me and Lindsay
Oh, I see what you're.
full like hour and a half TED talk about how to use man, it was like drinking from a fire hose, and I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface, but we're here.
We
We
are
are on
here.
YouTube via Restream at this moment. And so we're trying to figure out like because we're being streamed on Lindsay's channel and my channel at the same time. We're trying to figure out how the comments work.
Yep.
And if Lindsay's comments on her stream are separate from the ones on my stream, and we just noticed there's a thing that says paired in front of certain comments. Like, are those comments going on both?
So as I monitor on the cellular device, I can see Cindy, I can see Chris, I can see Miriam, and I can see Rickwin. Oh, and Joanne. And also Risa, she was here, and so is Judy. I don't
Okay.
know. It looks like it shows like several people actually paired. Jack,
So
good morning. Hello. Go ahead. You talk now.
oh, I was just gonna say the ones that say paired, I don't see on my stream on my phone. So this
Oh,
must be watching from your channel.
they must be.
So on our screen here, I can see all of them from yours and mine, but on
Yep.
my phone where I'm just looking at my own stream, I only see the ones that don't say paired, and I think you're seeing all the ones that say paired. Does that make
Yes.
sense?
I
Okay.
that does make sense.
Okay.
Everybody, welcome to a brand new like phase of the Tuesday coffee chats because of what Chris Bear has opened our eyes
Yeah.
to. So you
Woo.
get to learn with us.
Yeah, hopefully it's a better experience for the viewers. I mean, we've got our little names down there at the bottom. That's pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty fun. Also, we can start clicking on people's comments and showing them across the screen, which is a super cool look at that. Look at
Hey,
that.
yes. So anyways, we feel like we're, all that in a bag of chips.
Big stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're here. We're doing it.
How to not be distracted by all the things.
It's actually real difficult. So Dustin just asked, you're streaming to both channels? The answer is we think so.
Yes.
Question mark. Blaze, you are a wealth of information. What? She says that my stream is slightly delayed, and I think that would make sense given the fact that it's going to Nili's channel and then subsequently mine. I don't exactly know how the internets connect to
tubes.
one
It's
another.
like going through my tube first and then to your tube.
I don't know that that's really what's happening, but it makes sense in my brain, so we're gonna go with it.
All right.
I'm not good at coming up with some sort of response, even if it's wrong.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta. I feel like that's like half of parenting. Just coming up with some sort of response, even if it's wrong.
I mean, and I don't know is a great answer, but also I like to tease out potential logical explanations out loud because that's an easier way for me to process. It's one of those things where Jared, he'll tell me, why did you come up with that answer? That's absolutely illogical or wrong or whatever. And I'm like, well, listen, you were just part of the whole process of me teasing through one avenue of potential answer situations, not the actual, like, this is it. It's kind of like in Alice in Wonderland, how she's talking to the doorknob that's locked. And he says, nothing's impossible. It's impassable.
There you go.
That's how my
Right,
brain
when
works.
people give us nice compliments, I'm going to post them on the screen.
Oh, you might want to tag or pop Chris's comment up.
The beware.
Also, Stephanie, thank you so much for that compliment.
This one?
Just, yeah. So y'all might not see all the comments because they're on mine and yours.
Which is, that's the only drawback that we're seeing to this setup, is that we don't have everybody in one spot. But I mean, people often will, you know, stream to YouTube and Facebook, and I'm hearing an echo. What is that from? I don't know.
I've got my volume on my phone turned all the way down. Maybe I should just turn down my computer a smidge.
Maybe that's it. It's not like
we're getting
solid echo. It just cuts in sometimes.
Yeah, we're in a different room of my house this time because the fishbowl didn't have a height tall enough to where you would actually not be looking up my nose. So this felt appropriate.
Okay, so Cindy says, oh, okay, never mind. Cindy said that she saw Dustin's comment, but she thought he was on mine, but he's actually on Lindsay's, so that makes sense. So the comments are separate. There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Does that mean that you can pop up the paired comment? Like Dustin says, oops, I'm on Lindsay's. I was mistaken. Can you put that one across the screen? Okay.
So if we're ever talking about a comment, everyone will be able to see it when we put it on the screen. So that's
regardless of who's
right. So if we get into some topic of conversation or answer a question, everyone will be able to see that, whether they're on mine or yours.
Okay. We're learning all these fun new things. It's a whole new world.
Yes.
It's great.
Okay, let's
we didn't really have a topic for today other than the fact that we're playing with new technology to us, new software to us, and that's the way it's going to pan out.
Monica is a new follower of mine from Maryland. MD is Maryland, right?
That's right.
Found you from Two Crazy Ketos. That is amazing. I love that.
We love Joe and Rachel. They're so awesome.
Great. Okay. This is from Michelle. Have seriously been stuck for a long time. I'm talking over 12 months. I don't know what I did differently, but there's finally tape measure movement, even though the scale hasn't moved. That's amazing. And it could be that you did nothing different. Like sometimes our bodies just take some time to get things worked through, and then stuff starts changing. And so we always I've always done this, like the scale goes down and you're like, what did I eat yesterday? What did I do yesterday? Because whatever that one thing was is the thing that caused this difference. And you're like, no, that's not actually how it works usually.
Right.
So that's awesome. And it just goes to show that like being consistent is probably the most important thing. And there's not just overnight results from each choice.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. Yeah. That's fantastic though, that you have seen movement in a direction you want. That's awesome.
Yes. Okay.
Lindsay's delayed.
Healing can't be seen. Yeah, that's what Michelle said here, which is 100% true.
Yeah. Like on my recent reaction video, or not reaction video, but response to the conversation we had, was it 2 weeks ago that we had that conversation about the whole like challenge, you know, like what do you think of challenges? What do you,
because it was on my channel. 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also starting to think that maybe my internet is having a hissy fit, which
that's all we
it's
need.
kind of like this. jointed and I feel like I'm stop motion animation
I
here.
can see you fine, and you're synced for me pretty
Okay.
well.
Okay. Okay, then it's just me. It's just me.
Here, she's
But
also
we
from
talked
Maryland. And we lost Lindsay. Do you comment at the bottom? Peggy Fitzmaurice. Oh wait, no, it's not quite at the bottom. There's more now. She's from
Silver Spring, Maryland. So my father-in-law, whenever he was alive, he had a fishing boat, and we were over in Frog Creek on the Chesapeake Bay, and it was super fun.
That's cool.
So we would go to Maryland.
I've never been. I've never been to New England. I mean, I've gone through the airports a couple of times in a few different places, but never spent time there.
Sure. I've lived in a lot of places, as frequent followers of mine may be aware. And I, to this day, still feel like the Rocky Mountains and the valleys surrounding the mountains is my jam. That's where I would choose to be over and over.
Very cool. Oh, what about Old England? I actually have been to Old England. We had a couple layovers in London and did like a 12-hour, stay in London. We got to tour the city and stuff. That's about it. So yeah, I spent more time in Old England than New England.
I never made it into actual proper England. We were in Scotland. But we the drive down to go and see London and stuff like that was insane. So we opted instead to go up to the Highlands and check out the northern part of Scotland, which is an amazing scenery.
Love to do that someday.
Fantastic.
So cool. Okay. Let's see. It's generous Bitcoin billionaire. On my I lost it.
I'm so glad you're responsible for the comments today, because
one that you can't do that. You can't pop up comments. It's only me.
That's right.
Got it. On my 10th or 20th batch of Elroiderai, I'm addicted. My son loves it too. I started using Acacia instead of inulin. Ooh, tastes just as good. Hopefully still as healthy. That is very interesting. I would love to be able to use Acacia. I just am curious. It'd be great to be able to test things, see how many billion CFUs or whatever, and if you're getting the same result. But as long as you're getting a tasty result and it's similar in taste and texture, I imagine it's probably fine. It's a prebiotic fiber, so why not?
Yeah. I mean, and based on the number of billions that you acquire, do you actually have to have that many in the system at all times? Or once you've fully overcome whatever symptoms you had, could if it were fewer cultures, could your body sustain it? Possibly.
Yeah, would it be a big deal? I have no idea. That I have no clue about.
Okay, so Dustin, I think he may or may not have some familiarity with the Restream, because he's offering suggestions.
Oh, I can. I don't know if I should give you more power though. That sounds a little dangerous.
I don't know. I also do not think that I care for more responsibility.
Yeah. More responsibility.
That's accurate. And I'm only an Iron Man. I'm not a Spider-Man. So it's poor choices to give me more access.
Okay. Oh, Dr. Davis discussed Acacia in his yogurt. There is a large group for that. Yeah. That would be interesting. I've joined so many groups, and I feel like I'm in one of Dr. Davis groups, but I just can't keep up with all that stuff. Too many groups, because I joined the Keto Chow group finally on Facebook. See that, and then there's just too many groups.
I'm a part of zero.
Yeah, I respect that a great deal.
I tell you what, I today saw a couple of reels on Instagram, and this is probably a sign to me that I just need to step aside. I only need to create and not actually consume, because I fell down a 10-minute rabbit hole of this person who he goes in and he like gets sent videos of like pets or animals and things like that. And he like superimposes his voice as the animal's voice.
Oh,
And I was crying laughing.
so funny.
I can't. I'm like, I'm sitting there like, and I don't ever sit down in my house. Like sitting down is a rarity for me unless it's like specific purpose, like you need to sit down and do this thing. So I'm standing at my kitchen counter, kind of wandering around, just like tears streaming down my face. I cannot stop laughing. I know I sent you one of those.
Yes.
And I just,
Funny.
I can't. And so I really need to just like, I just need to like step back. Step back. Just use native apps on the phone, like the camera and texting and email, and let it just be that. And then move on. And I'm still terrible at creating content for the Instagrams because I still have not fully like re-embraced it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So the thing that I just started following, or the person I just started following on Instagram, just totally randomly showed up in my feed, is the name of the account is Deputy Dog Radar.
Okay.
It's a police officer. I found out he's actually local here in the Portland area. But anyways, the videos are always him sitting in the front seat of his car, and he has a little window or door that he opens, and the dog sticks its head out, and they eat snacks. Every day it's a different snack, and now they're super popular. People send them snacks from everywhere. Like they tried Marmite on crackers the other day, you know, like just random stuff. And so like he's trying to eat it, and the dog's like trying to eat it out of his mouth. And then he rates all of it, like how crunchy it was, and like the dog was like a 10 out of 10, you know. And it's just it just goes to show that you can get famous on social media from anything, and it actually does better when it's really simple. Like,
yeah,
like he'll do lives every once in a while where he answers people's questions and stuff, which is, I watched one of those too. It was just entertaining. But like his regular videos, like every single day, is him opening the window, the dog popping out, being all super excited, you know, to eat, and then, you know, them trying to eat a snack together. It's super popular. It's like,
somebody needs to send him.
Now I watch it's like so refreshing to see every day. Oh, what are they going to eat today?
Yeah, somebody needs to send them the carnivore dog snacks from like Carnivore Crisps.
I hope they have. Actually, I should tell them to do that. I bet they would. That would be hilarious.
That would be entertaining to see.
They would love it. I'm sure he would be excited about it. You know, Radar would be
Blaze,
excited.
you are playing both sides of the fence, ma'am.
Yeah, if you're really true fans of both of our channels, you will have 2 screens popped up, and you will be following and commenting on both. That's the only way to do it.
My light did die. I was so worried about that.
Oh, Lynette is here. Hi, Lynette.
Lynette is here.
Yes, and then Ron's Keto Cafe is here as well.
Hello, Ron. I'm unfamiliar with Ron.
You need to follow Ron.
I need to. Is he here on the YouTubes, or is he on the Instagrams?
On the YouTubes. On the YouTubes.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, let's decrease that. Ron's. Nope, that's not how you spell Ron's. We're finding it.
Oh.
We are scrolling. This is so much happening all at once.
All at once.
Keto Cafe. There you are. Ka-chow. Yep. Did it. It's a good time.
Oh, Chris is back. Whew.
Chris is back. Back
we haven't had any fun since he was gone, so now we can have more fun.
There are too many songs to sing within that phrase. Like Kelly Clarkson could have just bloop, bloop, right out. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay,
hey, Alan.
I have a question for you, Lindsay, and for everyone in the chat. Have you guys ever heard of Hell's Itch?
No.
Okay. If any of you guys have had it, you will know what I'm talking about. Okay, so Jeff and Autumn and Talia.
Is this like Montezuma's Revenge?
If it's related to Sunburn.
No.
Okay.
No.
So,
but you do get it in Mexico.
Okay. So they were on a week-long trip in Mexico, going to a medical mission, which that was really fascinating to hear about what they were doing there. which is another story, but I'll talk about Hell's Itch first. And so they were in Mexico, and Jeff, are you talking about my hair?
Mine was Pippi Longstockings out there, and it kind of
Mine
went back.
like do that. Anyways, okay. So they were in Mexico for a week, and Jeff worked really hard to like not let himself get sunburned the whole time he was there, and covered up and all that. We don't use sunscreen unless it's like a super healthy sunscreen and it's like really, really necessary. So, anyways, they got into San Diego after the trip in Mexico, and they went to the beach, and he like did one volleyball game on the beach without a shirt on. He got sunburned. It wasn't even a bad sunburn. It was not bad. He's had this reaction one other time. About 2 days later, which was yesterday, he got what's called Hell's Itch. And it's a reaction that maybe it's apparently like 5 to 10% of people with sunburns can get this reaction. And it's not related to how bad the sunburn is. Okay. It's not like a really bad sunburn. It's like it can just be a regular sunburn. But if you get the reaction, you will know. And it's like has something to do with the nerve endings getting damaged by the sunburn. And your body like gives a hyperactive itch response to it. And so people like it can last for like 48 hours and people can't sleep. And it's insane. Like it's apparently so bad. And the one method of like getting the itch to calm down is pain because like the pain, when you get the pain receptors turn the itch response off. And so people like have taken lighters to their skin or like go in super hot showers with sunburns to get the pain to make the itch stop because it's that bad.
Wow.
So Jeff had this reaction like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 7 years ago. And I remembered it. He didn't like he blocked it out. It was so bad. But there was like 24 hours where he's just like going crazy,
dying
with this sunburn. And so when he came home and told me about, that he got a little bit sunburned, I was like, oh no. He didn't even remember that was a thing though. And I had to like pull it up and be like, oh, it was Hell's Itch. And he's like, oh yeah, that's ringing a bell. And so yesterday he had this terrible reaction again. Thankfully it didn't last as long as last time. Maybe, I don't know why, but he's pretty much over it this morning, but it was rough. So anyways,
that's a bummer.
It's a thing. And it's not the sunburn directly. It's
the response.
It's the response to the damaged nerve endings. And the nerve ending is like a neurological thing where the nerve endings are sending this over-exaggerated message, and it's nuts. So anyways, that's what poor Jeff dealt with yesterday. So I'm like lathering him with Benadryl cream, and like he's trying all this stuff. So anyways.
That's not fun. When we went to San Francisco, and we biked across the Golden Gate Bridge and did lots of those things, right? I got sunburnt because we had a rental car that was convertible, and we, had the roof down because we are, not people who have a convertible. We live in an area where it gets cold for real. So that's not ideal. And we had the thing down, and it was so nice outside the entire time that we didn't really like register that, hey, the sun is beating down on you directly. Yeah. And I burned so bad on my whole face that I wound up blistering and peeling before we even left. So for a minute there, I was thinking like, maybe I have experienced this, but no, there was no itch signals to my brain.
Yeah. So he never gets burned on that area, like on his shoulders, because he just doesn't go shirtless outside. He's very white, and he knows it's like his farmer's tan is quite dramatic. But he's like this. I'm just gonna get a little bit of sun, just do one volleyball game. No. So Mary says she got it after first suntan bed experience. Oh gosh, I was wondering. I was like, maybe if he started tanning, like just gradually built up a base tan, if that would help, but I don't know. I do not know.
I don't know either. Fun fact, Chris says your description got copied to mine. Well, that makes sense since her entire live stream was copied to mine.
Yeah, okay. But I wonder if you go in and change it, does it change mine?
I don't
You
know,
go in and
but
change
I'm
it?
not going to do that right now because that would be
Oh,
our luck to have it just totally mess everything up.
yes, yes.
So I'm
Um,
just going to not.
yeah, yeah. So Chris says, is this when you take just take baths in ice water? Apparently, you don't want to do ice on it because it's too, I don't remember why. But to
Sure.
actually get rid of the itch, you want heat on it. Which is
So it's
crazy.
kind of like homeopathy where like counteracts like.
Yes, but it's two separate things. It's the itch versus the burn. And the itch
Oh,
is
right.
bad. The burn, I mean, it's like a regular sunburn, which is not fun, but it's not making you insane.
Yeah.
Whew.
Well, that sounds unfun. Were they down in Baja, like off the Baja Peninsula?
Yes, they were in San Catine.
Okay.
So Jeff, he was telling me about like the situation there of the people they were going to help. And it's a huge, I don't know, almost like a migrant worker camp, but
Okay.
not migrant workers. It's just people that live there. And they all work for the Driscoll Berry Farms. Do you guys
Oh, like
Driscoll Berry?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're everywhere here.
There are
And
tons of that's the only kind of raspberries and blackberries you can get in our grocery stores.
so they were helping out this huge, it's not a camp because people actually purchased, it was like this grid of plots
Homes.
that you can buy for like $2,000. And so people will, spend all their money to buy like a $2,000 plot, and they live there, and then they work in the berry fields. And there's no running water. There's some people have like solar panels to get a little bit of electricity, but there's not like regular electricity. I mean, it's a really bad conditions.
Yeah.
And basically the people that own, I don't know if it's the people that own Driscoll Berry Farm or like the higher ups, they have a mansion that like overlooks this area. And
Encampment.
yes, and they're driving sports cars and these fancy, like living in extravagance with all these people living way below the poverty line, working in the berry fields all day. And so the group that Jeff and the girls went with was a mission. And so these missions, and there's a lot of missions that come and help these people doing like giving them all these things that the people that they're working for they can't afford, with the people that they're working for up there living this extravagant lifestyle. And meanwhile, all these missions are coming in and doing charity and giving these people, like Jeff helped build a roof on somebody's house, because they and like yeah. Anyways, so that whole situation, it was rough.
Yeah.
Jeff, he actually, one of the things that he was really impacted by was the people's diet. It's completely processed food. Like, it's kinda like the food desert thing that we have here in the US, where it's
Yeah.
like there's no, fresh food, there's almost no meat, it's just all processed food and, like, syrupy Kool-Aid type drinks because there's no running
Yeah.
water, so they drink Coca-Cola and they drink, these brightly colored, sugary drinks because that's cheaper than water. And, he was just like, so he was asking people, like, what would it take to, get a store with healthy food here, or like, thinking about what these people need. And like in his mind, one of the biggest things is like healthy food.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very impactful for him to experience that
For
and
sure.
kind of think through the multitude of problems with the whole situation.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean,
food
and
being,
if they don't have running water, that's a major problem. If they
Yes,
don't have electricity, trying to maintain or preserve food that is healthful is a
exactly.
more involved process.
Yes.
I mean, like, yes, you can meat, but you also like there's struggles there. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty intense.
it was pretty sad, and it made me like, "Man, I don't know if I wanna buy Driscoll's berries anymore." Like, they're everywhere. That's the only I mean, in the grocery stores besides, what's locally grown, which
Sure.
that would be more what I buy these days, but, it was kind of a sad state of affairs.
Yeah. That's really hard.
Yeah. So, anyways, he's I think he's still processing all of that and, like because you feel like, "I need to do something," but then you're like, "But what can I do?" Like, what there's so many problems with it's almost like the medical establishment in the US, it's like, there's something wrong, there's so many things wrong. Where do you even start, And it can feel very overwhelming.
Yeah. I kind of struggled a little bit with the concept that there's not like there's the desire to go in and help solve the problem, and then looking back at like Weston A. Price's log of experience, these people, like, not maybe not specifically this particular group of people, but what caused the problem is
Yeah,
the infiltration of some completely alternate culture saying, here, do it better because my way is better. And
right.
it's like, whoa, that's really hard. And then if what's I swear, sometimes we think about similar topics without even knowing that we're thinking about similar topics. This morning, I was getting ready for the day, washing face, brushing teeth, all that. And I got to thinking, like, symbiotic relationships. This is going to sound out of the blue,
Okay.
but big food is in a symbiotic relationship with big pharma.
Oh, absolutely.
My brain equated the big food as the shark
Mm,
and the big pharma as the little what is it? It's a is it a ronin, a rowan, whatever kind of fish it is. Remora, that's what it was. A remora fish that sticks to the bottom of it
uh,
and provides like a little bit of benefit, but it gets to gobble up all of the leftover food that the shark doesn't consume. And it's like, that's the way it all works.
yeah,
Is there's something out there with some kind of a symbiotic relationship happening, whether and how do you control the shark? You don't. But then how do you control these massive companies other than just saying, you know what, I'm just not going to support them?
right.
um but yeah, like, obviously there's some systemic issues with the well-being of workers if that's the entirety of like their workforce living in like tent
Yeah,
city just to do their bidding. Like, I do
yeah,
not want to buy those anymore myself.
yeah, and then what Jeff was saying is that it's basically slavery because these
Yeah.
people spend all their money to buy this plot and they come up here to work and they don't make enough money to ever get anywhere else. And
Mm-hmm.
that's that's their life. And so yeah, it's pretty bad. And I mean, and it's not surprising. Like I think if we started following the threads on all of these different companies, it's like chocolate was a big one in the news,
Yeah.
where it's like and so now different chocolates are labeled as, I don't know, slavery free or something.
Yeah. Free fair trade. Fair
Fair
trade.
trade, yeah, yeah, and coffee, all that kind of stuff, but, I mean, it's in everything. I mean,
Yeah.
so I think there I have definitely been in the place, and I still am to a certain extent of, like, I just need to get the cheapest. Like, I'm gonna hunt and, like, there's the whole couponing and the, deals and clearance, and it's like the number one goal is to find the cheapest and keep the budget as low as possible.
Yep.
And I've watched YouTube channels where that's kind of their focus, like, they just budget and they hunt for deals, and it's kinda like a treasure hunt, and but it's like, that's that's not the most important thing. Like, how expensive something is not the most important thing to me anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, now I'm like, yeah, I can get the Driscoll's berries for 99 cents a pound when they're on sale or whatever, cheap price. But now with that knowledge of like what is allowing those berries to be that cheap of a price for me, I don't want that. I'd
Yeah.
rather pay, the stand on the side of the road from the local berries that were picked by a 15-year-old American kid.
Yeah.
I was a 15-year-old American kid that picked berries growing up. Like that was one of my jobs. Um, a-
Yeah.
anyways, so it's like, and so we deal a lot with people saying things are expensive. Like as YouTubers, like egg white bread, egg white powder is expensive, or perfect keto products are expensive, or keto chow is expensive. And it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, expensive is in the eye of the beholder, to one extent, and then to another part of it is just, okay, so let's look at all of the things about the product, not
Right.
just the price tag. There's the quality, there's the, sustainability, there's the humanity behind that.
Yeah.
Like I trust that Chris and Miriam are not involving slave labor in their production of keto chow. Like I have that confidence in their character that they're not doing that.
Right.
And that means a lot. And that to me is reason to spend more money on the product. And of course, if you can't afford something, don't buy it, no matter how sustainable it is.
Yeah.
Debt is not sustainable. That's what the two crazy ketos always say. And so that's a whole different story. But
Right.
if you do have the money, I think supporting something that has integrity behind it, to me, that's worth spending money on.
Absolutely.
If I have the money to spend.
Absolutely. I think also society at large in, first world societies, we have lost a lot of perspective on what is a need versus what is a want. And
Yeah.
so we wind up saying things are really expensive, but the reality is that if you choose to spend your money in one area, you're actively choosing to not spend your money in another area. And I
Yes.
think that it's a common misconception that we can just have all of the things we want and it doesn't have to cost $1 million.
Yeah.
But we also have to recognize that there is a cost, even if it doesn't cost us hard monies. It still costs us something. So buying, the inexpensive on sale berries is costing someone else their personhood. Then
Yeah.
it's not really worth, the juice is not worth the squeeze on that one.
Yeah.
We don't have certain things and we choose to spend money on other things because that's what we want.
Right.
But at the same time, like we can actively say, instead of spending money on this, okay, let's take, so we just bought a cow and it was an expensive upfront cost. But when we went through, did the math on it, it's like less than $4.50 a pound for every pound of meat that we bought, regardless of the cut. And we were buying ground beef.
Weight or packing weight? Packaged weight.
Packaged. Yeah, it was
That's
like,
a huge deal.
yeah, what we got over right at 700 pounds. So we've got a lot of meat. We know exactly where it came from. We know who the people are. So that's massive. And, we were buying meat in the grocery store that would be, like between $5 and $7 a pound, depending on whether or not it was on sale. Or if you wanted to have steak as a sort of like a special treat, you're looking at between like $15 and $20 a pound, depending on the cut. If you wanted brisket, you're looking at a really big price tag, like between like $13 and $18 a pound for that. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where it was a significant upfront cost to us, mm-hmm. but the per unit price is so much less expensive. So we made the choice to actively spend our money on that, which means we're not going to spend our money on something different. Yeah. And And so we chose that. So it was like a this or that. You can't have everything at all times. And
Yes.
so if you're finding a cheap price on something and it's not because like it's about to expire or something,
Yeah.
you gotta maybe consider, like, in the back of your mind, am I willing to pay the opposite piece of the cost factor here? Like,
Right.
what is the other end of the spectrum looking like?
Yeah. And there's the idea that everything costs somebody something.
That's
And
right.
I'm getting it for this price, someone else is paying some price somewhere. Um, you know, within
Yeah,
obviously, but it's like just to kind of broaden your concept of it's not just about the price tag that you're paying.
mm-hmm.
And so it's like we all do this, like buying a whole chicken and chopping it up instead of buying the pieces. Like it's cheaper, but it's costing me the time and the washing the dishes and all those things to do that. So like everything costs something. Some people have more time, some people have more money, and you kind of have to decide,
Adapt.
figure out what you're willing to pay, not just in the money market or the money category, but in
Yeah.
time, energy, and all of that. So I have been thinking about this a little bit. This is a little bit not related, but similar. With Keto Chow, we have started using Keto Chow in our house very regularly. And
Yeah. Same.
yeah, this past week when Jeff and, 2 of the girls were gone, so I only had 3 kids at home. Only 3 kids. And,
Sounds like a vacation.
it was. I really checked out from cooking food. Like, we did the bare minimum. We went out to eat a few times. Like, it's way cheaper to go out with only 3 kids and me than it is, any other time. And we didn't go into anywhere fancy. It's just, Chipotle or something like that.
Yeah.
And so
Go
we
get
did
a
that
burger.
times, and I let the kids, cook their own simple foods. I didn't like actually cook a meal besides like throwing a piece of meat in a pan for myself or whatever for like
Sure.
a whole week. And I was eating a keto chow every day for one of my meals. And I was like, man, the amount of other things I got done because I wasn't cooking and I wasn't doing as much cleaning after the cooking because cooking makes cleaning
It does.
incredible. And like even the amount of mental energy that I was able to apply to other things, I was like, man, this is valuable. Like,
Yeah.
and
Your
and
focus cost went way
yes,
down because
yes,
you didn't have to think about it as much.
yeah. And I was like, this is valuable, not in a monetary way, like money,
Mm-hmm.
valuable in another way that is, for that week, it was more important to me than money. Like I
Yeah.
found ways to have cheaper meals by putting in more work and effort. But what was important to me this past week was not the money part.
Sure. Well, and I think that if you really kind of like parsed it down, maybe your food cost you 150% of what it would have if you would have cooked it yourself, but maybe not. And I
Yeah.
was listening to someone, I don't remember his name, but he has a YouTube channel and he's kind of like big in the whole like opportunity cost kind of mentality and how to be more focused and how to be more productive kind of stuff. And he had talked about how time is not your most valuable asset. Um, Focused, like, attention is your most valuable asset. So everybody can have the same hour and be able to accomplish different things. It's just a matter of whether or not you can focus in that given time span. Now, I cannot.
Yeah.
But like that is the most valuable asset. So like if you're able to take your focused energy away from having to come up with like, okay, I'm going to cook this piece of chicken. How am I going to cook this chicken? How am I going to do this? What am I going to, season it with? How am I going to clean up the mess after the fact? Am I going to have one of the kids do it? Am I going to do it? Like, it's just, there's too many variables. And if you can eliminate as many variables as possible, you can help yourself find that focused attention so that you're not losing out on that like applied energy compared to like, you know, maybe it cost you a little extra, but net benefit has to be higher. Otherwise we wouldn't do it unless you're Lindsay Murphy. Right. And then you always do whatever whim catches your attention.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I think about with like making your own meals, I'm constantly throwing things away. Now we do have chickens and we're able to give them scraps, which that is huge for me. Like I'm so thankful for that because it feels like I'm not wasting. I'm turning it into eggs.
But then you're like, I'm putting a lot of energy into feeding chickens because trickles down.
But I mean, vegetables go bad, or you know, we eat the leftovers for a few days, and then the last bit is like, no one wanted it, and it's just sitting there, and there's just so much work and waste involved. And so replace a meal or two with a keto chow where, I mean, it's the dishes are minimal. There's no leftovers really. I mean, unless it's a creamy where I'm eating only half of it and then save the other half for later, but that doesn't really apply. Like it just has been refreshing.
Yeah. I mean, creamies are always refreshing, but also your point.
Anyways, I don't know. I've just been thinking about that because similar to the concept of trying to make everything as cheap as possible. Like you can get into that mode of like, I'm just a bargain hunter, you know, and it's fun. Like there's certain aspects to that that's fun. You can also get into the mode of like making everything from scratch, you know, and like, oh, how can I make this from scratch? How can I make this like, you know, yeah. We are the same in this. And again, that's fun. And that's a really worthy pursuit.
Knowledge base.
Yes. But to recognize that it does cost something. And sometimes that's worth the cost. And there's different, you know, seasons in life where it's worth the cost to grind your own grain if you're, you know, if you do grain and make, you know, versus buying already pre-ground stuff, you know, or there's seasons in life where it's worth buying a whole cow and rendering down all of the tallow yourself versus
you're really just like hammering down on me hard, Nili.
What I'm saying is that there are seasons where that is worth it. And then there are seasons where it's worth it to pay someone else to do it.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes we get like stuck in, I have to do everything from scratch because that's what I do.
Yeah. It's like our identity gets hung up on it.
Yes. Well, and like realizing that it's okay to pay someone else to do it if it's going to benefit you in some other way that's worth it to you at that time.
Right.
And to like have the freedom to choose what time and season it is rather than feeling like you are a slave to, I have to make everything from scratch perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can fall into that trap in numerous areas of our life. So we're talking about the food piece of it, an area where my husband is starting to slowly find value is he's capable of doing everything himself. He's a very handy, knowledgeable man. He has renovated tons of things. He has repaired cars. He manages a lot as far as maintenance is concerned in our home. He also has a job where he cannot consistently be home at all times to manage all of those things. And he's starting to see the value add of saying, maybe we need to invest in someone in our community who is a handyman and give them consistent business so that I can continue to do the work I do. And we're supporting someone locally to manage some of those tasks that I don't have the knowledge base for. And that we definitely do not want Lindsay just to kind of like hobble back together. So it's one of those things like, just because you do have the knowledge and the skill level doesn't mean that it's always the most appropriate, like you said, in the season for you to wield all of your tools in that given moment.
And it's important to develop the tools, because there are
Yes.
people definitely who have not developed the tool of cooking for themselves or cleaning
Right.
their own home, or all these different things. So it's really important to have the tools. And it's like there could be a season come in our life where Jeff's not getting any work and I need to start making everything from scratch again and bargain hunting, and it's like it becomes important,
Again.
so important that we don't have another option. And
Yeah.
so to have those tools in our back pocket, that's great and good. And I think we should all develop those things, but then also to be able to let go of some of that when it would benefit our lives in a different way to let go of them.
For
So
sure.
like for me, being like, okay, I don't have to cook all 3 meals from scratch for myself. I can make one of them a keto chow that simplifies my brain and my my need to clean up, this huge kitchen mess. And it's like that's okay. And that's good. And that's another tool. It's not like
Yeah.
we talk about this with diet, like, oh, we need to have this kind of diet. It's the best one. No, we need to have this kind of diet. It's the best one. No, they're both tools. They can both be used by different people in different life situations for different purposes. And it's all okay. Like it's all good. And so if you're in a season of life where you need to make everything from scratch and you need to keep your budget to like the bare minimum, then do that. Like do that. If you're not at that place where you need to really hyper focus and spend so much time on those things, then do something else, and that's okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Gosh, we have been soapboxy today.
A little bit. I did not expect that.
I do have to agree with Michelle here. Kitchen
Yes.
stuff to clean up the mess after cooking.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, I tried having 5 kids thinking that would be my kitchen staff, but so far it's only halfway working.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to the young ones coming in to do the dishwasher position or the cleanup crew, they still require a whole lot of supervisor attention. And there are times when you're like, I've had plenty of this. Let's just y'all scoot out of the way and I'll manage it this time.
Let me just. Yeah.
It'll take me a quarter of the time and you don't want to be here anyway. So
Dustin says I could change my own oil, but it'll take me longer, and having the dealership it's great. And then Michelle said it benefits the person you pay, which
that's right.
Do. Like that's something to keep in mind. Like it's another thing to have in your mind versus just the amount of money that is changing.
Because that you can't take with you.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're coming up on an hour here. Is there other comments that we need to get to before we jump off? Michelle says, never thought we'd pay someone to mow our lawn, but here we are, too busy and want to spend time together, not doing so many chores. Yeah,
valid.
Totally valid. And that person that's getting paid to do that is probably thrilled.
Michelle says she has 7 kids, homeschooled all of them, bless. And she was the queen of the chore chart and delegation. I could stand to have some remedial courses in delegation.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Yes. We have a chore chart and we, work real hard on that because Lord knows I'm not doing all the chores, especially with all the animals.
Yeah.
Like it's not happening. So
somebody will not get fed.
Yeah. Well, and if they don't feed the animals, they don't get fed. So
Nice. Yeah. I've not yet fully figured out the whole concept of a chore chart. Jared is on me all the time. Like, just come up with a list. And I'm like, but the thing is I see the things and then I try to figure out how to just do that thing. And then once it's done, I think that it's never needing to be done again.
Yeah.
It's just, not everybody's brain works in the same fashion. So I'm trying.
Yes. Jeff actually, a month or so ago, took it upon himself to create a chore list. And so that was very helpful. It's there. The list is there and we just check it off. It's great.
That is helpful. My struggle is that the girls, they have their daily tasks, like the things that constantly need being done. But then the other things, they're like, well, we just did the dusting. Like we just did this last week. Right. Mm-hmm. But also you have dead epithelials constantly falling off of you. Go clean up your epithelials.
Yes. It's, what is it? One of the laws of thermodynamics that I forget the chaos. Laws of motion. Is it laws of motion? I don't know. Anyways, I shouldn't have said anything if I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's like everything will tend towards chaos if left something like that. And that is how it goes. You can't just clean something and be like, there, it's done. No. It has to be maintained, or else it will not be done for any length of time.
Unfortunately, my children come honestly by that whole mentality because that's me.
Yeah.
Jared is much better at daily maintenance, daily tasks, very, very much more a detail focused kind of person. Whereas I'm like, let's just see the whole big picture. Nothing is on fire. We're okay.
With the, I've done a few different like cleaning programs like Fly Lady and different things like that.
Yes.
And there's
Cleaning
like
Mama or whatever her name is.
Yeah. So there's like a difference between maintenance cleaning and crisis cleaning.
Yeah.
Let it get so bad that it's like, I have to do this or it's going to take over the house, versus the little bits that you could do every single day. And it keeps getting to that point. And I'm always trying to be more like that.
Yeah.
But then there's 5 kids and, there you go.
Well, and I tell you what, the part that I find mentally taxing is not the actual task itself. And it's not having child A, B, or C do it. It's the fact that I not only have to have them do it, but I have to educate them, and then I have to train them, and then I have to do the shadow training with them, and then I have to do the observation training, and then we have to go through and do the like standing back and then coming back to check the training thing. It's just there's like 18 more steps, and it's so much easier to say, look, I dusted one day and now I don't have to do it until eternity.
Yeah. Been there. All right. The law of entropy.
Yes.
That is it. I knew someone would be smarter than me in the chat. Veritasium has a great video about entropy.
Not being what we think. You know what? That channel has tons of fascinating like videos.
Yeah. That's one that Jeff will turn on for us every once in a while.
Michelle.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. It must be him.
It must be him.
That's funny.
That's great.
Used to be, yeah.
Not what he is.
Speaking of things in the house not being chaotic, we should probably go check on the children.
You brought it around.
I did try real hard.
I'm gonna high five your face now. Be ready.
Rickwood says she blames the dogs. Yeah. Oh, it's always the dogs.
Listen.
Dogs leaving all those dishes and laundry.
And how very dare they not go scrub the sink?
Yeah. It's like, pull your own weight around here.
Shed her coat even when she's not in the room. That's talent. I mean, sometimes you just have to like recognize raw talent when you see it.
It's true. Yeah.
Okay, but yes, you're right. We do need to check on our children's.
Yep.
It's been an hour. This
Yeah.
has been kind of wild.
It has been a very different kind of a live stream today. I hope it was enjoyable. And I haven't even like paid attention to how many people are even here because my whole screen is different than normal and who even knows
Yeah.
anything. So
Although I do agree with Blaze, you can't let Neely's channel win with a thumbs up, but you also can't let Lindsay's channel win with a thumbs up. So go hit them both.
yeah, and then we'll tie. And it'll be so beautiful.
We'll be tie twinning. Like twinning. Or you can hit the thumbs down button twice. That's how that one works.
Yes. All right. So since I'm the host, I have to click in stream and then say, okay, that I really do like for realsies want to end the stream.
We don't really want to, but it's necessary for our children's well-being.
Right. And then we'll get I'll get an email about how many people watched. Very good to know. All right. Oh, Alan is here. I didn't.
Yeah, he was over on my channel.
Okay.
Him.
Yeah, deep topic today. We went really deep.
We did.
All right.
We'll try to keep it light next week.
No promises because we don't really try anything. It just happens. So seriously.
Valid.
All right. Bye everybody. Thanks for